Welcome, friends. James Corbett, CorbettReport.com. You will remember that a couple of weeks ago, James Evan Pilato and myself were discussing the new quote-unquote phenomenon of deep fakes, deep fake videos on New World Next Week.
Speaking of spotting BS, James, our second story on this jam-packed New World Next Week, episode 336, is called How to Spot a Deep Fake Video. Reddit, the aforementioned Reddit, has been making news again with another subreddit in which people use a machine learning tool called Deep Fake, which sure sounds a hell of a lot like Deep State, to automatically replace one person's face with another in the video.
Okay, so you will have seen that segment. If not, please go back and watch it. Link in the show notes as always. But long story short, this is about the quote-unquote new application that's available for people to swap people's faces out on videos. And as we talked about at the time, this isn't really groundbreakingly new technology that could never have been envisioned before. It's just that this is the first time it's really been widely available and spread online, and there was a subreddit and before it got banned and all of that kind of stuff. So it's widely available now, and as we talked about, it can be quite crude at times and easy to spot, but imagine how much better it is, what the Hollywood studios have, let alone what they have in the basement of the Pentagon. So we were talking about that, and I got an email in from a listener with a tip. Betty emailed this story from the MIT Technology Review from July 1st, 2000. Yes, 18 years ago. Can you believe 2000 is 18 years ago? Anyway, this is called Lying with Pixels. Seeing is no longer believing. The image you see on the evening news could well be a fake. A fabrication of fast new video manipulation technology. This was nearly 2 decades ago, and it's being discussed in the MIT Technology Review. Last year, Stephen Livingston, professor of political communication at George Washington University, astonished attendees at a conference on the geopolitical pros and cons of satellite imagery. He didn't produce evidence of new military mobilizations or global pandemics. Instead, he showed a video of figure skater Katarina Witt during a 1998 skating competition. In the clip, Witt gracefully plies the ice for about 20 seconds. Then came what is perhaps one of the most unusual sports replays ever seen. The background was the same. The camera movements were the same. In fact, the image was identical to the original in all ways, except for a rather important one. Witt had disappeared, along with all signs of her, such as shadows or plumes of ice flying from her skates. In their place was exactly what you would expect if Witt had never been there to begin with. The ice, the walls of the rink, and the crowd. And it goes on to say, what sets the Witt demo way apart, is that the technology used to virtually delete the skater can now be applied in real time, live, even as a camera records a scene and instantly broadcasts it to viewers. In the fraction of a second between video frames, any person or object moving in the foreground can be edited out, and objects that aren't there can be edited in and made to look real. Pixel plasticity, Livingston calls it. The implication for those at the satellite imagery conference was sobering. Pictures from orbit may not necessarily be what the satellite's electronic camera actually recorded. So this goes on at some degree of detail talking about satellite imagery, but obviously the implications were there. And even if we were to say that, oh, well, this was pretty crude and perhaps it wasn't very advanced, well, again, this is nearly 2 decades ago now. So again, this deep fake phenomenon is just the very, very bottom level of the ladder when it comes to this technology. And it has been around for decades. And so I literally played a game with myself while reading this article. How long until we start hearing about the defense connections to this technology? And it wasn't very long at all. They talk about last spring and summer as Sport Vision and rivals such as Princeton Video Imaging, PVI, in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, were airing virtual insertion products, including simulated billboards on walls behind major league batters. A team of engineers from Sarnoff Corp in Princeton, New Jersey, flew to the Coalition Allied Operations Center of NATO's Operation Allied Force in Vicenza, in Italy. Their mission: transform their experimental video processing technology into an operational tool for rapidly locating and targeting Serbian military vehicles in Kosovo. The project was dubbed Tiger for targeting by image georegistration. Just dial in the coordinates and the thing goes, blah, blah, blah. So again, not very long before the intelligence connections to these technologies start to come in. No surprise coming, obviously, in the MIT Technology Review, talking about these universities that are, of course, just engaged in research, heavily sponsored by the defense industry. And just for fun, I looked up PVI, for their own, literally was the first thing I thought, okay, I'll just look that up and see how long it takes till I find the defense connections. The company was founded as Princeton Electronic Billboard in 1990 by Roy Rosser and Brown Williams, based on patents on match-moving enhancements filed by Roy Rosser. Brown Williams had been a senior manager at David Sarnoff Research Center, which was the Sarnoff that was talked about working with NATO, and knew that they had developed advanced vision-based pattern recognition and tracking technology for various U.S. defense agencies. So again, obviously, the funding for these companies and the research they are doing, although it is done through the universities, is coming from the military. This is the way of laundering these projects. So I'll let you guys continue playing this game. Look for some of the other players, some of the people, some of the companies listed here. Can you dig up more connections to the defense industry? It literally took me under 1 minute to find my own example there with PVI Media Services. So I'm sure you will not be searching for very long. But at any rate, thank you very much, Betty, for sending this in. As I say, I know that this technology already exists. I know that it's much more complex than this deepfakes technology that's finally making its way to the public. Whatever we have is at least a couple of decades behind what the defense industry has been playing with. And here's just a in-your-face example of that. So thank you, Betty, for sending that in. And I'm interested in other examples of this type of technology if people have other cookie crumbs on that trail. So please do send them in. And on another note, if you're watching this video on ThemeTube, you are supporting the beast. Please get off it. Go to CorbettReport.com, go to DTube, go to BitChute, go to Minds.com, go to some other platforms to watch this and any other video. That's it for today. James Corbett, CorbettReport.com.